Well, at this point, we're able to create arrays and adding things to our arrays, right? So we have integers and we have strings, as you see here. But it will be nice to also be able to create an array that is empty, but at least we specify what types of things we want to put in that array. And then at a later time, if we wish to do so, we can add those items inside of our array, right? So we can actually do that. So to create an empty array, we can go ahead and say int again, for instance, and I'm going to say new array, and I'm going to say new, okay, int as such. The thing about creating arrays like this, that means we have to pass the length of this array, because we are saying, okay, we want to create an array in a memory, but the memory will say, okay, you want to create an array, but how big is this array going to be? So you need to specify in advance the length of the array. In this case, I'm going to say 4, for instance. Okay. So now that means this array will only contain 4 places, or 4 buckets, if you will. Okay. So in this case here, I can also do the same thing with string. Of course, you can do with any other type you would like to add. Okay. I'm going to say new names, for instance, is equal to new string array as such. I'm going to say 5. Why not? Okay. And now that we have, for instance, our news array, or new array, I should say, I can say new array, and I can add things to it. Now, to add things into an array, we have to know where we are adding this thing into, right? The first thing is, of course, to add our square brackets and then put index. So for index 0, we are wanting to add, for instance, number 12. New array again. Index 1, we want, say, 13. I'm going to copy this. In fact, it should be 4, so get rid of that. Index 1, 2, and 3. Change this to something like that, and just put random numbers like that. So very good. So now we have all of those numbers. So now this means we've added 12 to index 0, meaning in memory, things are looking like this. 12, 13, 133, and 113, like this. Okay, so this is how this is being represented in memory. And we can do the same thing we did before. I'm going to just put here new array, like that, and change this to new array. And you notice, if you save and run this, we should be able to see those values. So there is 12, 13, 133, 113. Okay, so there we go. Obviously, if I try to add more than what I have set it to be, let's say the 4th item, or the 5th item, I should say, as such, we're going to have a problem. So look at this. If I run this, we have that problem, array index out of bound exception 4. It means, again, we said that the length of the array, we specify it to be 4. At the top here, right? When we created this instantiation, if you will, of this array, we set it to be 4, yet we are adding the 5th thing. In fact, it even gives us this hint here that says array index is out of bounds, so that we know before we compile it. All right, so there it is, folks. You now know how to create in advance an array of type int, and then make sure that we have the length of the array so that the memory knows exactly how much to allocate in memory for your array. So, of course, what I want you to do is to do the same thing I just showed you with an int. Go ahead and add items in our new names, just like we did with the int here. Obviously, this is a type string, and make sure you actually add strings for obvious reasons. And if you want, you can go ahead and loop through just like we did here. In fact, I encourage you to do so you can see how things are working. All right? Great. I'll see you next.